Morning, guys. How we doing? Tyler here. I just wanted to take a chance this morning to talk about CBD oil with you. We had a pretty productive chat in our group the other day. Some of you guys are already using it and seeing results. Some of you have no idea what it is and just kind of want to learn a little more. Because of all that, I spent some time going through some notes, doing some research reading, also talking to the manufacturers themselves to kind of get the bigger lowdown on what CBD is and isn't. So just as a little standard disclaimer here, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not telling anyone this is a product that they should or should not take in any form. It's a supplement, right? So it means that it may help some people while it may not help others. There is a growing body of evidence suggesting that CBD does have a lot of potentially therapeutic properties, but again, that doesn't mean it's going to be good for everyone, right? CBD, or cannabidiol, is the non-intoxicating part of the hemp plant, right? So it's a natural product. In Missouri, it's already got special legislation in place that clearly states it is legal for usage. However, it is not at this point a medicinally prescribed supplement, right? It's a supplement still, not a drug. That's what we really want to make sure to clarify here. So overall, CBD has really been causing quite a buzz with scientists and health professionals who are already using it in their practice, largely because it seems to have the ability to help with a wide range of conditions. If you're paying attention in the group chat, you've seen that people are using it for a lot of different reasons, which is pretty cool, but also we want to see if there's a lot of science behind why it is or isn't working. So researchers are calling CBD more of a promiscuous compound because of the way it confers therapeutic benefits in many ways, while also tapping into how we function both biologically and physiologically. So this extensive preclinical research that's already gone on has shown that CBD has all kinds of potential benefits, such as being anti-inflammatory, anti-convulsant, antidepressant, antipsychotic, anti-tumoral, meaning may help be preventative for cancer, and it's also got some neuroprotective qualities. All of these things are just in the early stages of research, so we're not really going to dive too hard into that. But to be clear, CBD is different than THC. THC is the psychoactive portion of the marijuana plant. That's not what we're talking about today, right? THC is still not legal in Missouri, so that's not something that I'm comfortable really diving into, so we're not going to chat about that side at all. We're just going to stick to strictly CBD oil. So CBD, it doesn't cause any changes to a person's state of mind. However, it does seem to have some pretty solid changes within the body, and that's really where the research and potential medicinal benefits are coming from. Why would you want to use CBD oil? That's the question that we're really trying to hit home for and give you guys a little bit of understanding of what it is and what it's not. So what can it do? It can relieve pain. There is a more positive correlation here. When we're saying pain, we're talking more like joint inflammation, arthritis, things of that nature. So CBD oil may be effective in reducing pain associated with other diseases too, such as things like MS, rheumatoid arthritis. The list goes on, but again, everything, remember, is in that pretty preclinical stage of research. So while it may help you, it may not help someone else that's exactly like you. Completely individual still at this point. CBD oil also can be shown to reduce anxiety. So if you're normally an anxious person, or you're on anti-anxiety medications, or you're depressed, it seems like maybe CBD oil can work in conjunction or in lieu of these things. There's been a promise for treatment for both depression and anxiety, and it leads many of those who are suffering from disorders of this nature to take a more natural approach. On top of that, CBD oil has also been used to help with insomnia, right? So if you have trouble sleeping, then that's a good place this might help. One interesting study that I kind of found, it seems that CBD oil has helped with a lot of children with post-traumatic stress disorders. So just kind of keep in mind, this does seem to be a supplement that can have a wide array of use. On top of that, we could see that CBD oil alleviates cancer-related symptoms. It may help reduce these symptoms related to cancer and its side effects with treatments such as nausea, vomiting, and pain. But again, this kind of ties back into that pain piece earlier, right? Also, we have seen that CBD oil may reduce acne. I don't think that's a big problem for anyone in this group. However, maybe you've suffered from adult acne your whole life and haven't had a good option, it seems like there may be some beneficial effects because of its anti-inflammatory qualities, meaning that you're controlling the overproduction of sebum, right? So you're no longer going to create quite the amount of oil from the sebaceous glands. These neuroprotective qualities, that's the next one we want to talk about, right? That's really where the more interesting research is found right now. Though it's limited at this time, CBD has been shown to effectively treat symptoms related to things like Parkinson's and epilepsy. As a matter of fact, in children, CBD oil has been approved by the FDA for treatment of epilepsy, which is pretty awesome, right? It doesn't have nearly the side effects of other anticonvulsants, so it's leading to a more positive life outcome for some of these kids, which I think is pretty awesome. There's also seeing research that says there may be reduction in the progress of Alzheimer's, right? So we're seeing that maybe these neuroprotective qualities of CBD are helping us prevent degeneration in the brain, which is pretty cool. Could there be some heart benefit? There could be, according to some of these new studies, mainly by reducing blood pressure and preventing some heart damage. And then there are a host of other potential benefits, right? It's been studied for its role in treating a number of health issues other than what we've already talked about. Some of these things that are being looked at now are antipsychotics, substance abuse programs, those anti-tumoral effects going back to cancer, and maybe even potentially with diabetes prevention. How about side effects? What side effects are there with CBD? Well, to be completely honest, it's hard to find any papers that suggest there's anything negative associated with taking it. Too high of a dosage of CBD oil has been shown to give some patients diarrhea, but that could be the case with almost anything that's an oil-based substance, right? If you have too much olive oil, the same thing could happen. So side effects don't really seem to have any long-term negative repercussions. The half-life of CBD oil is 72 hours, so it's only in your body for about 3 days before it's already breaking down, meaning you're not going to have to worry about a huge buildup of it. You're not worried about it like a fat-soluble vitamin. Really, you can't get too much. You're just going to get rid of it naturally. All right, guys, so the non-sales pitch time, right? So like we talked about in the group, we have access to Charlotte's Web by the Stanley Brothers. It is a high-quality CBD oil. It's one of the originals that were allowed in the United States. They've been doing their research for quite some time, and they also have really high-quality control. One of the reasons that I personally like the direction of Charlotte's Web is just because Driven carries them, and we know that they put out quality products. So I wouldn't want you guys to take something that isn't tightly quality controlled, right? You may see some benefits, but you may not, versus we know every time you have the Charlotte's Web, you're getting the same thing. So I think that's pretty important overall. If you're still interested in CBD and want to hear more, I'm just going to tell you what I can. I personally don't have any experience with it at this point, so you're probably more likely to get better stories out of those in our group thread who have already said they are taking it. So I'm going to talk about Charlotte's Web a little more here. There are 3 levels that they carry in the oils. There is a full strength, an extra strength, and a max strength. If you want to kind of find out which one you should be taking, Driven has a pretty handy little test on their main page. You can just click on it and it'll be 4 short answer questions of why you want to take CBD oil and what you're trying to quote unquote treat, right? What do you want help with the supplement? And that's going to direct you kind of towards what they think, based on your answers, are the better option would be. That link is going to be posted below. When you get to the end of it, you don't even have to give them your email address or anything, so it's completely anonymous and pretty quick and dirty, right? Just skip that step at the end. So when I'm looking at this from a personal perspective, there's not a whole lot of science of how much you should take, right? There are some guidelines from Charlotte's Web that suggest somewhere between 15 to 25 milligrams, but really it's going to be trial and error for the most part on how much you should take because it's such an individualized process. The fact that you can't take too much is awesome, right? All it means is that you're going to spend more money than you need to if you've taken too much, so the only downside would be cost there. So again, most of what we've read recently is that 15 to 25 milligrams is the kind of the sweet spot for most people. 15 milligrams being the low end, 25 milligrams being that high end. One of the things you want to do when you first start taking it is kind of keep a nightly journal of how you feel, right? So if you are taking it for helping sleep, you want to make sure that when you wake up the next day, you kind of note how many hours did you sleep, how well did you sleep, do you feel more rested than the day before, right? So and kind of adjust your dosing. If you didn't get the results you wanted, you could add some more. If you got the results you wanted, you could try to back it down and see if you still get the same results, right? So it's all about finding that sweet spot for you. When we're talking about these CBD oils and not Charlotte's Web, the problem is that it's really hard to figure out exactly how much CBD oil there is, right? So figuring all the ins and outs, I went a couple steps farther for you guys, and I got a hold of Charlotte's Web, and we talked with Driven, and we wanted to find out the exact percentages of how much CBD oil is in each bottle of Charlotte's Web, right? I did this math already just to save you guys a little bit of headache, and this will be posted again, right? So kind of hang with me. I know it gets pretty dorky here for a second. Basically, we've got our 3 strengths written out, and I'm kind of just going to read from my notes here that full strength comes in 2 different servings, a 30 milliliter and a 100 milliliter bottle. The cost is about $40 and about $100 respectively, right? So each serving of the full strength has 11 milligrams of hemp oil. Out of that, Charlotte's Web told us they have a 70% purity. So about 7.7 milligrams of CBD oil is in each serving. So if you wanted that low-end threshold of 15 milligrams of CBD oil, that 30 milliliter bottle would last you for about 15 days. That means it'd be about $80 a month for you to take that lowest dosage of CBD. Of course, if you don't want to take that much and you know that you're probably going to be on the lower end even than 15 milligrams, obviously this might be a really good choice for you, right? Just so we're clear, that 1 milliliter is 1 serving for both the full strength and the extra strength, right? So if it says 30 ml on the bottle, that's 30 servings. If it says 100 ml, that's 100 servings. When we get into the extra strength here, we've got those same 2 sizes. The cost does go up because it's a lot higher amount of CBD. So our 30 ml bottle is $75 and our 100 goes up to $189. Each serving has 28 milligrams of hemp oil. That same percentage of 70% gives us 19.6 milligrams of CBD per serving. So right there in the middle of that dosing between 15 and 25, you're almost spot on in the middle. When we're looking at that, if you're going to spend about $2.50 a day to hit that sweet spot, or about $50 a month on supplementing CBD oil, right? Lastly, the max. That one's pretty intense. It's only in a 30 milliliter bottle, and each serving is only half a milliliter. So 1 bottle of max is actually 60 servings. That contains 60 milligrams of hemp oil per serving, which comes down to about 42 milligrams of CBD total, right? So you're on the very high end at that point of the recommended dosing. So if you're just starting out, probably the max isn't going to be for you. That's probably going to be for those people with more serious medical conditions, or that are trying to use it medicinally as opposed to a supplement, right? That price comes out to about $275 per day to take that highest dosage, or about $82.50 a month. The bottle of max is pretty expensive at $165 for that 60 servings. So after all that, reading it, going through the quiz, looking at my wants and needs, seeing that I'm getting a little older, I've got some joint aches, I don't always sleep the best. I personally am going to go with that extra strength, the one right in the middle there, because 25 milligrams versus 20 seems to be pretty nominal for most people. So I'm going to start right there in the middle, and that's just kind of where I am on it. If you guys have questions, though, now is the time that you can post them below. I know this was kind of a long video, sorry about that, but I wanted to make sure it was pretty thorough, right? I didn't want it to just sound like a sales pitch. I want you guys to know what it could do for you, and that it might not do any of that, and be reminded that CBD is really, it's a supplement like any others. So if you want to try it, you should absolutely do so. If you don't want to try it and don't want to be involved in it, you don't have to be, right? So take out everything I said with a grain of salt.